Namaste. Welcome back to Mindful Serenity Yoga, or Waking Up in a Busy World. And I think I named my channel, I keep changing it, Waking Up with Mindful Serenity Yoga. Well, anyway, so it's a combination of both names. I've been asked to do these videos. I was doing it for learning purposes only, because it's a very selfish reason that motivates me to do this. I want to learn, and I learn best when I teach and when I challenge myself by asking myself questions and whatnot. And this is very important information to me. I've been studying yoga for over 25 years and practicing yoga for the same amount of time. Though I've been only teaching for less than 10, I am just captivated and enthralled by the learning that I'm getting, and I do want to share it as well, but it's mostly for me to see if I've assimilated as a part of who I am. So I've been doing this practice for myself for over a year by answering questions and getting a collection of questions, trying to answer them within a 10-minute time frame. And I've been just posting them up, and I've usually had them unlisted. I wasn't willing to share them, except for on my blog and the odd one on my yoga page, because I was embarrassed about them. They're so far from perfect. I do not believe in putting on a front, so I come here most times. I'm not even sure if my hair is combed. I don't wear makeup. I don't have the appropriate, the fancy videotaping equipment. I don't edit. I just put them up. That whatever you get, whatever comes out on this is what you get. So I was really quite hesitant to do anything more than just put them up on unlisted and share the odd one on my blog, or share it on my, like I said, my yoga page, if I thought it was something that people could benefit from. But someone had asked me to do this on a regular basis, and they made a deal with me, and I'm not going to share what the deal was, but it was something that was important to me, so I went ahead with the deal, and now I have to publicize all my videos, so we'll see what happens. So I do answer a question within a 10-minute time frame. Some people may call them spiritual questions. I just call them personal questions, in a sense that personal questions without the person. They're going to help us get a little deeper inside to see who we really are and why we're here and what we're here to do. Not so much do, but what we're here to be. And so that's basically what yoga is, right? That understanding. And it's not just yoga, of course. It's all different types of traditions and different types of learning resources that I use and to get to this one truth. So anyway, so that is why I'm here. We're going to answer another question, attempt to answer it within a 10-minute time frame. So I am going to dig way down into my trusty jar of many questions. And I hope I'm going to just look at it briefly, because sometimes the same one gets answered. It gets thrown back in there. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer this one, because this would be for a true yogi. Okay. I'm going to start my timer. Oops, I lost her again. Excuse me. I got my Canada shirt on, so that's why I can say and a. Okay, here we go. The question was, what is Kula Vedana? I'm going to spell it for you. Kula Vedana. Kula Vedana. Kula Vedana. I'm going to take a nice deep breath. I think I might know what it is, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain it. And exhale. I think I just learned about Kula Vedana and reading Sadhguru's new book. It was published in 2021, Karma, A Yogi's Guide to Crafting Your Destiny, which is a wonderful book. And I've been studying karma as part of my yoga practice for many years. But I think this was the clearest and most distinct or succinct explanation that I got of karma that made sense to me. And things have to make sense to me for me to be able to share them. Kula Vedana, again, Kula Vedana, is a Sanskrit term, I believe, meaning collective suffering. if I am not mistaken, and I could very well be. So I'm going to talk about collective suffering, even if it's not Kula Vedana, because that's what's coming to my mind. Kula Vedana, collective suffering. What is collective suffering? Wow, that is a good question. Of course, we are all very familiar with what personal suffering is. Personal suffering is basically this experience of challenge that we're having in our lives. Our pain, our emotional distress. We live in a pandemic of anxiety right now. I think that is probably one of the chief emotions most people are feeling. Anxious, restless, worry, which is the third hindrance in Buddhism to finding out who we really are, by the way. Regardless, personal suffering is that feeling of struggle and stress. Now, Buddha, of course, developed the premise of Buddhism, which is the Four Noble Truths, starting with this very real statement that there is suffering. Suffering exists in the world. There is suffering. The second noble truth was that there is a root cause to suffering. The third noble truth was that there is a way through suffering. We do not have to suffer. And the fourth noble truth was the Eightfold Path, which is the way out of suffering. So suffering exists. But what is suffering based on? If suffering exists, what is the root cause of suffering? The second noble truth of Buddhism and the Vedanas and all types of Hindu scripture, the Bible, it basically comes to the same thing. The root cause of suffering is our wanting, our desire for things to be a certain way. That is the root cause of suffering. Preference, many would call it. The third son patriarch said that the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. There would be no suffering if we could stop preferring and wanting. Together with wanting comes the not wanting, or what the Buddhists referred to as the second hindrance to enlightenment, aversion, our not wanting things, our pushing away. So as a human being, we have a tendency to want things a certain way, and we will grasp those things we want and bring them into our comfort zone, or we will push certain things away through, which is aversion, because they cause pain or they disrupt our comfort, and we're all about creating comfort. Now, what part of us wants this comfort and this wanting and desiring then? It is not the part of us who we are. It's not what we came down here to do. We just came down here to experience life, I believe. And I don't know. Again, I'm just talking from my heart and my wise self. And like I said, I can't back this up scientifically. But we came down here to experience life as it is. Many people would say that the earth is a place where souls come to evolve. We came here to grow and change and learn, and to experience what is as it is. It's somewhere along the line we came across some unpleasant, as a person, and again, this would be the collective way the world approaches suffering, or the world approaches living, because it seems to be the way that most people will do it. And this is where the Kula Vedana comes in. Is we've developed a way of, or we come up with this idea that it should be different than what it is. It causes me pain, therefore I do not want it. Okay? I want that over there though, so I'm going to do whatever I can to get that so I feel good in here. Rather than just accepting life as it is, we put conditions on life, and we start to believe that life is for us as individuals and for us as a collective. When I say collective, I mean as a human race. Life is here to serve us. The earth is here to serve the human race. And when we have that ideology, what do? We wreak havoc and damage on the earth. We destroy other sentient beings for our own benefit. We destroy this wonderful natural resource that is all around us for our own benefit. But what is the own in there? The own is this little me that we developed based on our wants and our not wants, based on our attractions and our aversions, based on our desires and our fears. So here we are as human beings, giving this wonderful playground to play in, to experience fully. And what is in the way of us doing that? It is this idea of preferring, of wanting, of liking that creates the psyche or the little me. That is where our focus of attention goes on. That is where our mind goes. So we don't see what is beyond that. We don't see the experiencer beyond that, nor do we see the experience. We are limited greatly by that reality. So by that lack of reality, by that inability to accept reality for what it is. And that is suffering. And it's collective suffering because it is the means by which we all do it. It's conditioned in us as human beings. We see this as normal, this way of approaching life as normal. So it forms this Kula Vedana, this collective suffering as a human race. Anxiety is now the norm. Stress is now the norm in the human being, when I don't think it was ever intended to be the norm. We live in a state of suffering because we consider it normal. Our suffering is based on our conditions that we place on life rather than accepting life for what it is. So resistance then is the basis of Kula Vedana. Collective resistance is the basis of Kula Vedana, and which is our collective suffering. Our resistance to what is, our inability to accept life for what it is. We've got to get out of these personalized view we have of ourselves, first of all, because we're more than these persons, we're more than these personas, we're more than these egos, we're more than these little me's. We are the consciousness beneath them, behind them, that is here to experience life. But we've got so attached to the person that we forgot that. And it is the person, or the personal me, or the psyche that wants and dislikes, wants and needs, and pushes away, and not the consciousness. So suffering then, or collective suffering, is our losing contact with who we really are, this consciousness, and getting over-attached with the little me or the ego, with all its wants and diswants. That's why wanting and desiring is said to be the cause of suffering, or the second noble truth. So Buddha also said there is a way through this. So what is the way through this? He said, well, just end suffering, and there's a way to end suffering and to see rightly. And he listed 8 right things that we can do as human beings to get us through there. Without going into those, what we really basically have to do is start seeing the world, start living our lives, not as the person, the little me, but as the being behind the little me, the consciousness, the true self, that which is aware, that which is here to experience, allow it to experience. And once we get little me with all its wants and dislikes out of the way, we're more likely to fall back into that human, the being part of the human being, and experience life fully, so that we're no longer suffering. So collective suffering, Kula Vedana, is this mindset that we create and live by, which creates our negative karma in the world, in a sense, creates our wars, creates the fact that so much of the population is starving when there's enough natural resources to feed everyone, creates what's happening with the planet right now, creates our threatened survival as a human, as a race, as a species. It creates the amount of mental illness that we're seeing now that we've before would never have seen. creates the amount of physical illness and stuff we're seeing now because of what we're partaking in and ingesting into our bodies and what we're doing with our bodies. It creates suffering. This collective suffering is the karma that comes with our resisting life as it is and enjoying life as it is and thinking that we need to make it other than what it is so that we maintain a comfort zone. So I guess the collective is in a big comfort zone, a big comfy comfort zone, and we're doing everything we can as individuals and as a collective to prevent the bad stuff coming in, the so-called bad stuff, from coming into that comfort zone and pulling the good stuff in so that we maintain a state of comfort. Materialism, of course, is a big part of this Kula Vedana, this idea of owning and having more so over than being. Wow. I'm hoping that made sense. That was a challenging question for me to answer, to be honest, and I hope I even have the definition right of Kula Vedana. I might not, so it might give you an answer on something totally different. But anyway, that is what I had for a question. That is how I answered, so that is what you're getting. I really do thank you for joining in, and I do hope you've got a little bit of something from this. And thank you for helping me help myself, which would be in a turn helping all. Collective suffering can turn into collective wisdom if we are at the individual level ready to go inside and examine the way we've been living and do it differently. Thank you so much for joining me again. Namaste.